Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on crypto. I hope you're having a good day. There is so much going on. A lot of news dropped that's going to affect the near term, as well as a couple of things that are going to affect the long term. So let's dig into it. You have the CFTC about to dig into the DeFi process. So not just DeFi, but every aspect of DeFi, looking at cybersecurity issues, just everything, the pieces, everything. And I'm kind of like, that's a good thing. But you also had another advisory committee. That's the technology advisory committee. There's another advisory committee, the global markets advisory committee, led by Carolyn Pham, who says, listen, legislators, policymakers, they need to wake up to the idea that crypto is stateless and they need to have a more international perspective. That is the nugget right there. That's the nugget. These policymakers, these agency heads, the short guy, Gary Gensler, you're looking at them trying to act like the United States runs crypto, and we don't. It is stateless. They need to learn that lesson, and the harder they try to rile against it, it's not going to work out. So they need to wake up to that fact. Something else that I'm paying attention to. Yesterday, I told you that Visa and MasterCard were pulling back. I didn't mean pulling back. I meant they were kind of freezing features that they have right now. So Visa came out and said, hey, basically, we're not giving up on crypto, even with this, shaky or volatile regulatory environment. However, I think what they really mean is we're not pulling back, but we're not going to introduce anything new. So we're going to keep rolling with what we have and not introduce any new use cases until we get a little bit more regulatory certainty. They're also looking at what the effects would be with the CBDC, a US CBDC. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot to unpack. And I think I would probably do the same thing if I was in their shoes. Now, Robinhood, as you know, I reported a couple of days ago, listen, Robinhood just got whacked in the face, not just because they got the notice in December, and we just found out, a couple of days ago, that the DOJ is digging into them. So they needed some good news. So what they do, they dropped their non-custodial crypto wallet. Wow! But you know what? They only dropped it for the iOS. Now, if you really stop and think about it, when you're a company of any large enough size to be developing an app such as that, do you normally make that drop on iOS only? No, you don't. You make it drop on iOS and Android. Owning a development company, I know you can write that code once and drop twice. So I think they were rushed a little bit. That's what I think. I think they knew what was going on, and they rushed to get this out the door to have some positive news to possibly bury what's going on with the DOJ. I think that slick move, but some of us are kind of smarter than that. Anyway, you have Signature Bank having their shares drop because of deeper DOJ concerns. They're being investigated. I like it, and it's going to be ugly. But how ugly is it going to be? You literally just had Citadel and BlackRock invest over the past month. And I mean invest kind of big. So I'm just wondering how that's going to play out. Is that a longer term game? We'll see. We really will have to see about that, because I'm interested to see, just how many banks are going to replace the originals, right? In terms of working with crypto. Now, Signature Bank. That was Silvergate. Signature Bank said, what was it, a month ago or so that I had said, I think on January 23rd, I had said that Signature Bank was going to stop doing transactions for less than $100,000 with Binance. That basically cuts out retail investors. That basically says, hey, we only want to do business with institutional investors, bigger chunks. So if we're going to carry the risk, we're going to carry the risk with, larger sums of money. Well, they took that same approach with Kraken. And I'm sitting back and I'm wondering, what bank is going to step in now? Because I think they're doing this a little too soon. The reason why is because you had the triumvirate, the FCC, the OCC, and the FDIC. That those are the regulators that oversee the banking industry. Those regulators came out just a few days ago and said, listen, banks can be involved in crypto. That's fine. We're not even telling them not to. It's fine. they just need to pay attention to liquidity. Now, them pulling back, Signature pulling back and saying, hey, we're only going to do $100,000 transactions. That's not pretty. That's not a good look. So I'm just wondering if there's going to be another bank that's going to step in and fill that void and possibly gain market share and popularity. That's a strong possibility, right? Would like to see it. Polygon has got so much going on. I've been telling you for months, Polygon's got news. Polygon's got news. Guess what? They dropped more news. So ahead of their zkEVM launch, they said, we've got this thing that's going to help with the metaverse. Okay, it's called Polygon ID. And what Polygon ID is going to do is it's going to say, well, hey, we can authenticate that that's a person, that is the person they say they are. We're not going to give you any information. We're not going to share any information. We're just going to be able to confirm if that person is who they say they are. That's actually powerful. I don't know if you know, but I sit on a Metaverse Standards Forum, and these are the things that we kind of sit back and contemplate and discuss in terms of having standards going forward. This is ridiculously interesting to me because it makes Web3 more approachable. Everybody might think that Web3 is this whole big defined thing. It's not. So every time I hear something about Web 4, Web 5, you haven't even defined Web 3 yet, and I have an issue with that. So looking at Polygon, I think this is a tremendous move, and I think it's really smart. And the reason why is because you have so many projects on Polygon. So them to come out with an ID system, holy moly, that's going to invite more. There's more to come, but I think that's what we should be paying attention to. Now, I saw a whisper when I was traversing the internet this morning, and the whisper was that Chainlink, and I don't know if it's true, I need to dig in, but I think Chainlink could be coming out with some kind of a platform that's going to link Web3 APIs with Web2 APIs, much like what my company does. There are benefits to Web3. There are benefits to Web2. I do not think Web3 replaces Web2. I think that it just adds to the mix, just like HTML did. HTML grew up, then you had dynamics grow it up. You just had a lot of things create Web2. Take that to the Web3 level with crypto, gaming, all these other things, DeFi, just a whole bunch of other things that can really open the world up to a lot of different, I'd say, possibilities. So that for me is big news. Now, if you're a Shiba Inu fan like I am, you are kind of feeling good right now. You're feeling good because Robinhood's new non-custodial wallet supports Shiba Inu, and that's something that people have been waiting for a long time. They've really been waiting for Robinhood itself to support Shiba Inu, but this is a good step. Another big one is Exodus now supports Shibarium. That means Exodus, Ledger, and a couple of others are supporting Shibarium, and that hasn't even come out yet. It's about to, but that means there's going to be underlying support out the gate. That's a big deal. Now you know why I like Shibarium and I like Shiba Inu. Go Shiba Inu Army. Now, I will end on this note. The U.S. Treasury is going to take the lead in developing a U.S. dollar, a U.S. digital dollar, a CBDC. The other agencies involved include, and I get there, is the Federal Reserve, of course, and the National Security Council. Pay attention. Pay attention. I told you that governments around the world, not just the United States, look at crypto as adversarial. Why? Because it's global. It's stateless. No one country controls it. So if you use it in certain ways, you can possibly, kind of skirt sanctions that might be levied against your country. Although we've also seen that, can't do that in certain situations. So that's going to be interesting. Because basically, if you have all of the centralized exchanges, and if you work with decentralized exchanges, you can still see that the impact would wind up being that you can stop those people skirting or identify those countries that are breaking the rules.